don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
I think I'll be ready. I think it'll be just fine.
How good does the Bengals O-line need to be? Oh, what is up, Houday fam? It's Mike coming back at you again. I was off yesterday, not because of Easter, because I was lazy and I had a lot of housework to do. We're selling our house, so things are going to be a little bit weird here and there, but I'll try to keep up with you guys because this is important. What I want to talk to you about today is I went ahead and went back through PFF data for team offensive line grades for both Super Bowl teams going back to 2011. So that's 10 Super Bowls, 20 teams, pretty decent sample size. Also a sample size of the modern NFL, kind of what works today in the league. And I found some interesting stuff.
I don't believe you.
Let's jump in here and take a look. Actually, I'm just going to run through with you guys some of the data real quick. So in 2019 or 2020, you had Kansas City and Tampa Bay, obviously. Kansas City. I live near an airport. Gonna wait for the plane. I don't know if you can hear it, but there it went. 2020, Kansas City had a team pass blocking grade of 70.3, a team run blocking grade 71.0. Tampa Bay's pass blocking grade was 68.1, run blocking grade was 71.4. Nothing crazy, right? The Bengals routinely run out offensive lines, not in the last few years, but typically they'd run out on offensive lines that are at least that good. What you're going to see here is it kind of doesn't matter how good your offensive line is if your quarterback is really, really good. And the Bengals have one of those quarterbacks, a really, really good one, right? You got, say what you want about the really bad offensive line, and it was really bad last year. PFF grades that out. They were bad. But injuries like the one Joe Burrow sustained last year are more freak accidents than the result of a bad offensive line. Quarterbacks play behind shitty offensive lines all the time, rarely get an injury like that. So you can't, I think it's a little weird, it's a little unfair to blame the bad offensive line play. Good offensive line play could have helped, but freak injuries happen to really good offensive line play. For example, Joe Theismann, I tweeted this out, I think, a couple weeks back. Joe Theismann had a really good offensive line. Got his knee inverted by Lawrence Taylor. It happens, it's unfortunate, but throwing out an entire, your entire offensive line and starting from scratch because of one freak play isn't necessarily a smart move all the time. So let's get 2019, Kansas City was in it again. This one was against San Francisco. Kansas City put up a season pass blocking grade of 78.9, run blocking grade that year of 63.1. San Francisco, right around the same lines, pass blocking grade of 70.5, run blocking grade of 75.3, right? 2018, New England against the Rams. That year, New England actually had both teams had a really good offensive line. New England, 82.1 pass block, 75.9 run block. LA, 81.8 pass block, 81.0 run block. Right, so that's an example of sometimes two teams with top 5 offensive lines, they do make the Super Bowl, but neither of those teams had the best offensive line that year per PFF grades. So 2017, New England against Philadelphia. New England's pass blocking grade that year was 77.6, run blocking grade of 88.1. Philadelphia's pass blocking grade that year 75.3, run blocking grade 82.6. Right, that's really 80. Those run blocking grades are really good. Those are really, really good run blocking grades, and those were two teams that ran the ball a lot. Makes sense. 2016, New England against Atlanta, the crazy Super Bowl where New England came back. The pass blocking grade of 82.2 for New England that season. A run blocking grade of 84.2 that season. That is an elite offensive line. That's one of the best ones outside of, I think, San Francisco's offensive line was better, but that's a really, really good one. Atlanta's that year was really good as well. Pass blocking grade 81.3, run blocking grade 89.4. Really good offensive lines. By no means the best ones. Atlanta might have had the best run blocking grade that year. They didn't win the Super Bowl. So 2015, you have Denver, who played Carolina that year. That was Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl, last game. That year, Denver put up a pass blocking grade of 72.0 and a run blocking grade of 74.6. Nothing to write home about. That's a average. It's league average right there. That offensive line, which is why we talk about the Bengals don't need to have the best offensive line in the league. They need to have an average one, because if you have an average offensive line and an elite quarterback, that elite quarterback play is going to make up for any detriments. And you saw that Joe Burrow was lighting it up behind a terrible offensive line last year before he got hurt, right? So that year, so Carolina came in that year. They had an incredible offensive line, but again, didn't win. 84.3 pass blocking grade. Their run blocking wasn't that good, 73.3. But what you're going to see here is there's not necessarily a trend here outside of a really good quarterback is really what is important. You can have an average to even below average offensive line and play it and get to the Super Bowl. You even win one with that. But your quarterback has to be lighting it up like Eli did against in 2011. Just lit it up. But let's move on to 2014, New England. New England's in like every one of these damn things. New England had a pass blocking grade of 69.2. Not very good. It's fine. It's not terrible, but it's not elite. Run blocking grade 73.5. Seattle that year, pass blocking grade of 71.8 and run blocking grade of 80.8. Two kind of middling offensive lines there. Nothing crazy. People who are telling you guys that you can't win Super Bowls without a top 5 offensive line, they're just not looking at data. These are people who they already have that opinion. They're living in the 1980s. They have that opinion already. If you don't have the best offensive line, you can't win. That's just not how it is. Let's move on then to where were we? 2013, Seattle played Denver in that one. Seattle had a pass blocking grade that season in 2013 of 70.9, run blocking grade of 75.6. Not very good. Denver had a pass blocking grade Denver had an incredible offensive line this year. They had the best run blocking offensive line and pass blocking, I believe, this year. Denver had pass blocking grade of 84.7 in 2013 and a run blocking grade of 88.9 that year. Really good offensive line, but they played against Seattle, who had a very average offensive line. You can get to the Super Bowl with that kind of offensive line, depending on scheme and quarterback play and your skill position depth. So 2012, you had Baltimore against San Francisco. I think that this was a Super Bowl where there was a blackout, I believe, right before the game started or right before halftime or something like that. And in 2012, Baltimore had a pass blocking grade of 74.4 and a run blocking grade of 82.7, a really run-heavy team. San Francisco had the best run blocking, as good as Baltimore was in that year in the run blocking category. In 2012, San Francisco's run blocking grade was 94.3, which is the highest grade for any blocking run or pass in the last 10 years for any Super Bowl team. And the San Francisco had a pass blocking grade of 79.0. Just a really good offensive line on that team. Just really good. And then 2011, New England against the Giants. And the Giants had just a terrible offensive line that year. It was really bad. In 2011, New England's pass blocking grade was 74.1, and their run blocking grade was 88.6. The Giants won this game. They have a pass blocking grade that's in 2011 of 57.8. It's very bad. that's very bad. And then a run blocking grade of not very much better, 74.0. I mean, that is better. It's more around league average there. But man, under 60 for the pass blocking grade. With Eli Manning as your quarterback, he's not really, moving around a lot. He just had to get rid of the ball a lot and take a lot of sacks. But that average, so the average for all those teams, 20 teams, right? Pass blocking grade The average pass blocking grade for Super Bowl teams in the last 10 years, 75.3. Average run blocking grade for Super Bowl teams over the last 10 years, 79.4. Okay, let's put that in reference to the Bengals' offensive lines, right? Last year, they had a terrible offensive line. Although their pass blocking grade last year was better than New England's was in 2011. Just saying. So, but their pass blocking grade last 58.3, and their run blocking grade is 65 in 2020. In 2019, their pass blocking grade was 63.7, and in run blocking grade of 46.8. Whew. They really couldn't run the ball in 2019. 2018 was the pass blocking grade of 67 and a run blocking grade of 56.7. So we're still they haven't had an offensive line that really there is kind of a threshold, right? You can get by with an average offensive line, but you definitely can't get to the Super Bowl with a below average offensive line unless you're apparently Eli Manning in 2011. But the exception proves the rule, right? So in 2017, 68.5 pass blocking grade, 56.3 run blocking grade. One other thing I'll say, a lot of times these teams, again, the Giants in 2011 are an outlier, but a lot of times if they had a bad pass blocking grade, they had a really good run blocking grade, and vice versa. If they had a bad run blocking grade, they had a really good pass blocking grade. They're good at one or the other. That's why you're seeing sometimes the Bengals, they'll put out a league average, and their league average right around 68.5 or so, depending on the year. It could be between that and about 72, right? That's kind of the range. And the last time the Bengals fielded a team that had an offensive line that you could say was good enough to go to the Super Bowl was in 2016, where they had a pass blocking grade of 79.9 and a run blocking grade of 74.9 in 2016. So just to give you some perspective of how good the Bengals offensive line needs to get to kind of be in that statistical wheelhouse of Super Bowl teams that year, they had Andrew Whitworth, who put up a 93.7 pass blocking grade at left tackle. They had, Kevin Zeitler was on that squad. He put up an 86. Clint Bowling played the other guard. He put up a 78.8. These are pass blocking grades. Russell Bodine was the center for most of the games, and he put up a 63.9 pass blocking grade. And who played the other tackle? Eric Winston for most of the... Yeah, they had Cedric... my phone's in the way. They had Cedric Ogbuehi and Jake Fisher that year. They both were terrible. And then Eric Winston played tackle for, I believe, 11 games, so most of the season, and he put up a 62.1. Look, Andrew Whitworth is elite. Kevin Zeitler is elite. That's it, though. They didn't have any other elite guys. They had two elite guys, right? And in today's NFL, if you have two elite guys, I mean, that's basically that's a really, really good offensive line. The Bengals right now don't have anyone that you would consider elite. However, they have four players, the four starters that we know are right now slotted to start. They're above average. They're good to really good, right? And that includes both tackles, center and left guard. Trey Hopkins is an average to above average center when he's healthy. Jonah Williams, I think, is going to take a big step forward, but he played really great. He played like an above average, really good left tackle last year. Riley Reif had his best season in a while last year. If they pick all that stuff back up, stay healthy, you're looking at a team that putting those guys in front of Joe Burrow, that's enough for Joe Burrow. He will be able to ball out and get them to the Super Bowl hypothetically based on these grades, right? Let's not rule it out. We are fans of this team. This is Who Dey Nation. We should expect them to get to the Super Bowl. So let's do it. If we don't do it, who the hell's gonna do it? All right. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you guys for coming and stopping by. Love you guys. I'll see you next time on Who Daily. I've been Mike. This has been Who Daily. Peace.